Many people think that investing in real estate requires luck or experience. A lot of folks like you overthink it and do not want to take that leap of faith. I know what that feels. You want to make sure that every step of the way is good, that your calculations are good, that there's no mistake. You want to check, double check, triple check, have your buddy check, have your mom check, your grandma check, to make sure that the house you are purchasing, if you're gonna invest time and money, you're trying to make sure that it's gonna be the perfect one. And it's gonna be a successful investment. But let me tell you something, it's part of the game. You're taking a risk with this investment, with this leap of faith that you're taking. There's no foolproof investment. There's no guaranteed investment. There's always a risk with this. But when you're starting out, you do have an advantage. You can learn from people that are already investing. Just copy what they do. Follow their steps, follow their blueprint. That's the way they got to that level. So you should follow the same thing too. Today, I will be sharing with you how you can make an extra $1,300 a month without needing any prior experience. And this strategy is also good if you already have the properties and you just want to increase the cash flow. You might be thinking that is way too good to be true, right? But I'm here in this video to give you all the steps you need to take and to make it as easy for you as possible. So by the end of this video, you'll have the blueprint to make your first $1,300 with two powerful strategies in real estate. One of them is house hacking, the other one's co-living. So let's get started.
Let's get started with co-living. This is not a new strategy, but the current economy and house shortage has made this strategy very popular recently. Co-living means renting by the room. So pretty much instead of renting the whole house, what you're doing is grabbing a property and renting each room to a different person. Passbet is one of the platforms that is taking on the task to bring this strategy to the masses. One of the big benefits of renting by the room is that you can make a lot more money by doing this. Another big benefit is that if someone is not paying you anymore and you have to evict them, you're still able to cash flow some money since all the other bedrooms will still be paying rent. Now we're going to start talking about the numbers. So for example, a 5-bedroom house in Las Vegas, you might be able to rent that house for about $2,400 to $2,800, depending on the area. But that same house, if you were to put it on Passbet or rent by the room, you might be able to charge $700 per room. That means that you will be able to generate around $3,500. That means that going with this new rent by the room strategy, you'll be making around $1,000 extra. And let me tell you, this strategy works great in busy areas, medium cities, big cities, where people need affordable places to live at. Co-living is very popular between young professionals, students, and people who need flexible living arrangements. I've also had the honor of having veterans staying in my places, and honestly, there have been some of the great people and some of the best people I've been able to have as tenants. Now, there is one thing to remember. When you do host through Passbet, and even if you do rent by the room, depending on which model you run, on how you want to run it, you are usually the one responsible to cover the bills. That includes energy bill, water bill, gas bill, Wi-Fi. In our numbers, when we're doing the numbers for our property, we need to take care of these extra expenses and write them down and put them into our numbers. But we also have to remember, if we do rent through Passbet and we're not doing it ourselves, we do have to furnish the place. We have to include a bed, side table, closet if you don't have one. And also if you want to go the extra mile and make your room even better, you might want to add a TV to the bedroom and even a little desk. So the person that's living inside of the room could just work there inside of the bedroom comfortably. If you have a house payment that's $2,000 per month and you're able to rent it out for $3,500 per month, you will be making around $1,500 per month. But remember, we do have extra expenses, bills to pay, and everything else. So I'll calculate that you'll be making around $1,100 to $1,300. Also, you can move the prices around, right? You don't have to charge $700. You can charge extra money, and that will mean more money into your pocket. But let's be clear in one thing. I know I'm mentioning a lot of money, making extra money, making $1,000 extra. We are providing a service to people, and we are giving them an affordable and clean and nice place to live at. That's one big thing that you have to take into account. You're providing a service to the people that are staying at your houses. So you have to treat them with respect. You have to provide them a clean and comfortable place to live at. you want to keep them living well. You know, you don't want to have a high turning rate, like people coming and living your property all the time. So that's really important to keep in mind. Now, this step is for the people that already own a property and want to increase the amount they can make from it, right? So if you have a house, you don't need to go ahead and buy a house to do the strategy. If you're living inside the house already, this strategy is for you. And this one works really well, especially if you're single and you do not mind other people living with you.
Let's assume you have a house and you have empty rooms. The best thing you could do to generate extra income from the house that you already have is rent those other rooms to other people. Call it a roommate. This strategy is called house hacking. House hacking is one of the best ways and one of the smartest ways to start investing in real estate with little to no money. Here's how it works. You buy a house, you can do traditionally, creative, cash, hard money, however you want. And you live in one of the bedrooms. And the extra bedrooms, you rent it out. You get some roommates. For example, you have a 4-bedroom house. You just bought a 4-bedroom house and you can live in one of them, call it the master. You take the master and you can rent the other 3. Each one of those bedrooms that you're renting out you could rent it in Vegas, you can rent it for $700 each. That will generate you about $2,100 a month. If your mortgage is only $2,000 or $2,100, you break even, you live for free. Or if it's $2,000, you have a little bit of cash flow. Of course, you have to cover all the extra bills like electricity, internet, if the house has natural gas, but you will be living in that property for free and you're building equity in the long run. So basically, somebody else is paying your mortgage. This strategy works especially in high demand rental areas. Call it colleges, universities, training facilities for military, hospitals, or downtown where the density of people is the greater. House hacking helps you save money, build equity, and learn some valuable lessons of being a landlord from POV. Why? Because you're living in the property. You're looking at everything firsthand. So it's a great strategy and you can start it as soon as now. If you have empty rooms in your property, there you go.
I currently have 2 properties on Cashflow that generate about $7,000 per month. And I know this is possible because I am doing it and I've helped other people to do the same thing and start off their co-living properties. So with some strategy and knowing how to use the spaces in your home, some time and money, you will also be able to cash flow at least $1,300 per month. Here's a breakdown of one of my properties and I'll show you the numbers next.
Okay guys, and how I promised you guys, we're going to be taking a look at some of the numbers of my own property. And to start off, we got to see that what type of property it is, right? So this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 3-bathroom property, right? So we see here that we have room number 1, room number 2, room number 3. This is the main bedroom, and room number 5, right? So there's a pretty big bedroom right here, and we can see the bathroom 1 here, bathroom 2 over here on top, and we have a private bathroom that belongs to the main bedroom, right? So that's how the house looks. There's the main entrance right here, so people get in there and then they go to their bedrooms, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here's the kitchen, so they could cook, prepare their own food, and then so that's a configuration. So now when we get into the numbers, we're gonna talk about what is this generating, right? So here we swipe to the right a little bit, and some people like to be precise. I like being precise, so here are for the people that are like that, So each bedroom rents for about $700 per month. That's about the average, right? And this is the actual math down here, so you guys could get to those around 700. It's actually more than that, but I just say $700 per month because I like to keep my numbers really tight and conservative. So usually we rent in for $195 per week. That equals to 197 times 4, which is a month. So that comes up to $780 per month. But we do have to remember that Cashflow charges a management fee. So we go $780 minus the 8% fee. That equals to $717.60. Or how I like to go down a little bit, $700 per month, right? And of course, if we do have a bigger bedroom or there is a private bathroom, in this case, this house, those do rent out for more. So this one, the rent goes for about $1,000 per month. This one here, and this one goes for about $900 per month. So the numbers are a little bit higher than what I'm gonna show today. Perfect. So now we go for this one. For the ones that you're looking at, we have, like I said, this is a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom property. And we're talking about that the average bedroom is $700. So we'll multiply that by 5 and we get to $3,500 for the whole house. And again, and here we see quickly that the name of the game for this type of property for a pad split is the more bedrooms you have, the more money in your pocket, right? We see it here. So now we talk about the expenses. It's $1,300 for the mortgage, $400 for the bills. That comes up to $1,700 for the expenses, right? And now I'm gonna keep it simple and relaxed. Of course, I could talk about leaving a war chest, right, for the future if like the roof goes bad, if a pipe goes bad and everything. And do save that around an extra $300 to $400 per month. So I have that as an emergency fund right here, right? So you guys don't see here in this number right now, but that's just so you guys can take into account. Some people like to save more for the emergency fund. Some people don't even have an emergency fund. I always suggest to have $200 to $300 per month to just keep them there, right? So now let's talk about the profits. So we saw over here that the house is making around $3,500, right? Which is here. Now we're going to take away the expenses, $1,700. That means we're going to be making around $1,800 per month, right? And now if you guys see the video, you guys remember that I said I was going to show you guys how to make around $1,300. And you guys are also going to see that my mortgage here is very, very low. A lot of you guys are not going to be able to find the mortgage in today's market. So what we're going to have to do is to work with this number here, right? The multiplier, the amount of bedrooms that we have. So that's what we're going to do next. So if we're talking about a house that you could purchase in today's market, I know some people that have pushed this number here, the multiplier, what I call it, the amount of bedrooms that you're going to have, to 8 bedrooms, 9 bedrooms. And of course, this number is going to increase here, right? But we're going to run it at 7 bedrooms, right? And if you have any rooms that you're not utilizing, you could, use them as bedrooms. If you have a big living room, you could probably turn that living room into 2 bedrooms. So again, $700 per month times the amount of bedrooms we have. In this case, we're going to have 7 equals $4,900 per month that you'll be making, right? Now, again, the expenses. Now, a mortgage that's a lot more that you're going to find in today's market that makes sense for today's market is $2,800, right? For a mortgage. It could be a little bit higher if it's a bigger property, if it's depends on the area too. And now we're going to have to increase the bills a little bit too, because we don't have just 5 people in the house. We're going to have 7. So $700 for the bill. The mortgage is $2,800. The expenses come up to $3,800. Mortgage and bills included. Again, you guys can use whatever war chest you guys want. So for the profit here, we're going to end up with $4,900, which is the value that we got here. Then we have the expenses, $3,500. That means that we end up with profit into our pocket, $1,400 per month. And there you go. That's an actual sample of what you guys could do with pad split, of something real, something that's doable in today's market. And of course, we can increase the amount of profit that we make by increasing the amount of bedrooms in the house. And this number here will increase. Of course, we'll have to tweak some things here, the bills, would increase too with the amount of people. But there you go.
Now, after looking at those numbers, if you feel overwhelmed, just focus on one step at a time. Start off small with house hacking and then explore co-living and eventually scale to multiple properties. I know you got this. There's a blueprint and you just have to follow it. I know today we talked about 2 strategies of how to generate more money with your properties, right? Co-living and house hacking, but we did not talk really about how to buy them. And that will be for our next video. So if you want to start your journey and need a step-by-step guide on how to buy a property and start doing the strategies such as co-living and house hacking, you can click the link below to get our guide that will show you how to do it. So that's all for now, guys. See you in the next one.